The day the alien fleet met Lucky Wilder. Chapter 1. Birth of Luck. The Wilder family lived in a modest farmhouse on the outskirts of Houston, Texas. On the night Lucky was born, the hospital lost power during a storm. The storm rattled the hospital windows as the lights flickered out. Nurses scrambled, machines flickered, and panic spread through the ward. Yet when the doctor delivered the child, the lights surged back on, brighter than before. The first baby of the new year had arrived. Merchants, keeping with tradition, showered the family with gifts. Blankets, toys, baskets of fruit, and muffins. And one prize that gleamed above all others, a gold coin stamped with the year. The nurse placed it in the infant's hand and he clenched it tight, refusing to let go. His father laughed. Born in a blackout, clutching gold before he can even open his eyes. That's luck. His mother whispered, then lucky he'll be. Lucky Wilder. Lucky's childhood was a string of improbable escapes and victories. At age 5, he wandered into traffic, chasing a ball. Every car braked at the exact moment, forming a perfect gap for him to cross unharmed. At age 7, he entered a school raffle with a single ticket and won a brand new bicycle. At age 10, he fell from a treehouse, only to land on a mattress being carried by movers passing through the yard. Teachers shook their heads. That boy doesn't just survive danger, he thrives in it. His classmates teased him, but they also followed him. If Lucky picked a team, that team won. If Lucky guessed an answer, it was right. If Lucky flipped his coin, it landed in his favor. By his teenage years, Lucky had developed a taste for risk. He played games of chance with older kids, always walking away with their pocket money. He entered contests he didn't understand. Spelling bees, science fairs, even a martial arts tournament. And somehow stumbled into victory every time. One night, his father sat him down. Son, luck runs out eventually. You can't rely on it forever. Lucky smiled. Maybe so, Dad, but so far it's been reliable. As an adult, Lucky drifted from job to job, never staying long. He worked construction and never suffered an injury. He tried his hand at piloting small cargo ships, and every time he flew, storms parted, engines purred, and routes cleared. He gambled often, not out of greed, but out of curiosity. What would fortune hand him next? In one legendary game on Luna Station, Lucky sat across from smugglers, miners, and a retired admiral. The stakes were absurd: credits, cargo, even deeds to ships. Lucky played with his usual grin, cards sliding into his hand like old friends. When the final hand turned, Lucky didn't just win money. He won the deed to a battered Terran battlecruiser. The room fell silent. Impossible, the Admiral whispered. Lucky shrugged. Guess I'm just lucky. From birth to adulthood, Lucky Wilder had never known failure. His life was a string of coincidences so perfect they felt like destiny. And now, with a warship in his hands, his luck was about to be tested against something far greater than dice or cards. The galaxy itself. Chapter 2. The Rusted Relic. The hangar bay on Luna Station was quiet, the kind of silence that carried the weight of forgotten history. Lucky Wilder stood at the threshold, staring at the prize he had won in a haze of smoke and cards. The ship was massive, scarred, and ugly in the way old war horses are ugly, battered but still standing. Its hull was patched with mismatched alloys, scorch marks ran like veins across its sides, and the nameplate was half erased, TCS Fortuna. Lucky whistled low. Well, my friend, you've seen better days. The access ramp groaned under his boots. Inside, the corridors smelled of rust and stale air. Dust-coated consoles, wires dangled from panels, and the lights flickered like they hadn't been touched in decades. Lucky ran his hand along the wall. You're still breathing, aren't you? Just waiting for someone dumb enough to try. He pressed a button at random. To his surprise, the lights surged to life, illuminating the bridge in a pale glow. Consoles hummed, systems booted, and a voice crackled through the speakers. "Captain, probability alignment detected. Welcome aboard." Lucky blinked. "Well, that's very kind of you." The ship wasn't just a relic. It was a vault of forgotten technology. As Lucky explored, he stumbled across hidden compartments and sealed crates marked prototype. Experimental railguns, sleek, oversized cannons that hummed with dormant power. Stealth modules, panels that shimmered faintly, promising invisibility in the void. AI core, a crystalline sphere pulsing with light, its voice glitchy but eager. Systems, awaiting calibration, probability of success, anomalously high. Lucky chuckled. "Guess you know me already." Lucky wandered the Fortuna's dusty corridors, flipping the coin between his fingers. Each metallic clink echoed through the ship's hollow frame. He flipped it before pressing a console. Heads and more systems surged to life. He flipped it again before opening a sealed crate. Tails, and inside lay an experimental laser. The AI core pulsed faintly. Probability alignment detected. Coin resonance anomalous. Lucky grinned. "Guess you like my lucky charm, too." He spent hours wandering the decks, pressing buttons, flipping switches, and somehow never triggering disaster. Instead, every mistake revealed another hidden system. At one point, he leaned against a console and accidentally activated the ship's galley. A tray slid out with a steaming cup of coffee. Lucky raised it in salute. "Now that's what I call service." The ship seemed to respond to him, humming louder when he laughed, quieting when he grew serious. It was as if the Fortuna had been waiting for someone whose luck bent reality enough to wake it. Lucky stood on the bridge, gazing out at the stars through the cracked viewport. The ship's systems hummed around him, alive for the first time in years. "Looks like you and me are gonna have some fun," he said, flipping his coin. The Fortuna purred in agreement. Chapter 3. First Flight. The hangar doors creaked open, revealing the endless black of space. On the bridge, Lucky sat in the captain's chair and balanced his coin on his palm. "Heads, we fly. Tails, we crash." He flicked it skyward. It spun, gleamed, and landed heads. Lucky laughed. "Guess the coin's calling the shots." With his boots kicked up, coin clenched between two fingers, Lucky waited for the ship to fully activate. The Fortuna hummed beneath him, alive in a way no derelict ship had any right to be. "All right," Lucky muttered, patting the console. "Let's see if you still remember how to dance." He pressed a button at random. Engines roared to life, shaking the hangar walls. Warning lights flashed across the console, but instead of alarms, the ship's AI purred. Probability alignment optimal. Launch sequence successful. Lucky grinned. "See? Easy." The cruiser lifted free of Luna's gravity, thrusters firing in perfect sync. Lucky hadn't calibrated a thing, yet the ship flew smoother than a brand-new freighter. The controls were a mess of levers, dials, and glowing runes from half-forgotten tech programs. Lucky tugged one lever, expecting disaster. Instead, the ship's shields shimmered into place. He flipped a switch, and the stealth module activated, cloaking the Fortuna in a veil of invisibility. "Ha! You're full of surprises," Lucky laughed. He leaned on another panel, accidentally triggering the weapon system. A railgun fired into the void, the shot streaking past a drifting asteroid and splitting it neatly in two. Lucky whistled. "Guess we'll call that target practice." Stars blurred as he pushed the throttle. The Fortuna surged forward, cutting through space like a predator. Lucky hummed a tune, tapping the console in rhythm. Every wrong move turned out right. A miscalculated jump landed him perfectly aligned with the trade route. A failed thruster test spun the ship just enough to dodge a drifting satellite. A random button press activated the autopilot, which guided him flawlessly through debris fields. It was less piloting and more luck shaping reality. As Lucky leaned back, enjoying the ride, the sensors lit up. Dozens of signals appeared on the screen, warships, sleek and bristling with weapons, sliding into Earth's orbit like sharks circling prey. The AI's voice trembled. Incoming fleet detected. Probability of survival anomalous. Lucky grasped his coin, eyes narrowing. Well, looks like our test drive just turned into a showdown. The Fortuna drifted silently, cloaked in shadows, as the alien fleet tightened formation around Earth. Lucky Wilder cracked his knuckles, grinning at the impossible odds. Let's see what luck has to say. He flipped his coin. Chapter 4. The Alien Fleet. The stars above Earth shimmered with unnatural light as the alien armada slipped into orbit. Dozens of warships, sleek and bristling with weapons, moved in perfect formation. Their hulls gleamed like obsidian, their engines pulsed with cold precision. On the flagship Blood Token, Commander Kravik stood tall, his four eyes narrowing at the blue-green planet below. Primitive world, he muttered. Unclaimed, unguarded, ripe for conquest. The humans will kneel before the authority. His officers bowed. Our fleet is unmatched, Commander. Earth will fall within the hour. The bridge buzzed with activity. Tactical screens displayed Earth's cities, its defenses, pitiful satellites, outdated missile silos, and a scattering of orbital stations. Barely armed, sneered one officer. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Another laughed. They call themselves Death Worlders, but they are fragile. Their bodies break easily. Their ships are toys. Commander Kravik raised a clawed hand. Do not underestimate them entirely. They are stubborn creatures, but against our fleet, they are nothing. Suddenly, a sensor officer stiffened. Commander, a signal. A single vessel approaching. The bridge fell silent. On the screen, a battered Terran battlecruiser drifted into view, its hull scarred, its systems mismatched. Only one life sign aboard. The crew erupted in laughter. One ship? Against us? Kravik smirked. Perhaps they send a relic as a gesture of surrender. End it quickly. Show them the futility of resistance. Inside the Fortuna, Lucky Wilder leaned back in his chair, eyes fixed on the fleet ahead. So, he said to the ship, looks like we're sitting at the biggest table in the galaxy. Time to play another hand. The AI's voice shook and repeated. Incoming fleet detected. Probability of survival. Anomalous. Lucky grinned. Anomalous is my specialty. On the alien flagship, Commander Kravik gave the order. Target the human vessel. Destroy it. The fleet's weapons charged, plasma cannons glowing, torpedoes primed. And in the silence before the storm, Lucky Wilder smiled because he knew the cards were already stacked in his favor. His coin had landed on heads. Chapter 5. One against many. The alien fleet moved like a storm front, black hulls blotting out the stars. Plasma cannons glowed, torpedoes primed, and the flagship's commander sneered at the lone Terran cruiser drifting toward them. End it, Commander Kravik ordered. Show them what happens when primitives defy the authority. The first barrage lit up the void, plasma bolts streaking toward the Fortuna. Lucky Wilder leaned back in his chair and tapped a button he didn't recognize. The ship lurched sideways, shields flaring just enough to deflect the blasts. One plasma bolt ricocheted off his hull and slammed into a nearby alien frigate, tearing it apart. Lucky chuckled. Guess I called that shot. He pulled a lever at random. The Fortuna's experimental railgun roared, firing a slug that punched clean through two enemy cruisers in a single shot. The second ship exploded, scattering debris into the fleet's formation. On the alien flagship, officers shouted in disbelief. Critical hits from a derelict piece of space junk. Impossible. Kravik snarled. Focus fire! Overwhelm him! Lucky's luck bent reality with every move. A torpedo locked onto him, but his engines sputtered at the perfect moment, sending the missile spiraling into the Authority flagship's shield array. Rail guns thundered, plasma bolts streaked, and Lucky flipped the coin before every move. Heads, a slug tore through two cruisers. Tails, his thrusters sputtered, dodging fire and sending torpedoes into their own flagship. At one point, the coin slipped from his hand, bouncing across the console. It struck a glowing rune, activating stealth mode just as the fleet unleashed a barrage. Lucky vanished into the void, laughing. Even when I drop it, it saves me. His shields overloaded, but the feedback loop arced outward, frying the targeting systems of three enemy destroyers. A miscalculated thruster burn spun the Fortuna just enough to dodge a plasma beam, which instead struck a carrier, igniting its hangar bay. Lucky laughed through the smoke. You boys ever play dominoes? You're about to learn. On the Authority bridge, chaos reigned. Officers screamed as ships collided, weapons misfired, and formations collapsed. This is not tactics, one shouted. It's sorcery. Commander Kravik slammed his fist against the console. No, it's one human. Destroy him. But every order only fed the chaos. Lucky's supernatural fortune turned their precision into folly, their numbers into liabilities. Lucky leaned forward, eyes gleaming. All right, let's show them the ace up our sleeve. He pressed a glowing rune. The Fortuna's stealth module activated, cloaking the ship. Alien sensors scrambled, firing blindly into the void. Lucky reappeared behind their formation, railguns blazing. Another battleship split apart, its wreckage scattering like confetti. Surprise, Lucky whispered. When the smoke cleared, half the fleet was wreckage. Survivors limped away, broadcasting frantic warnings across the stars. Stay away from Earth. If one man can do this, imagine what an entire planet of humans could do. Lucky leaned back, boots on the console, coin spinning on his palm. Well, looks like we won the pot. Chapter 6. The Hero's Welcome. The Fortuna descended through Earth's atmosphere like a legend returning home. Crowds gathered in every city, watching the battered cruiser streak across the sky. News feeds blared the impossible truth. One man, one ship, had driven off an alien fleet. Lucky Wilder stepped onto the landing platform in Houston, greeted by roaring applause. Soldiers saluted, politicians shook his hand, and children waved banners with his name. Lucky! 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 The crowd chanted, as if fortune itself had taken human form. The president pinned a medal on his chest. The United Nations declared him protector of Earth. Corporations offered him fortunes, armies offered him command, and universities begged him to lecture on probability manipulation. Lucky just grinned. I don't know about probability. I just play the cards I'm dealt. Everywhere he went, people treated him like a myth. Statues were commissioned, songs were written, and the phrase Wilder's luck became shorthand for impossible victories. At a gala in New York, Lucky leaned against the bar, sipping champagne. Across the room stood a woman, tall, elegant, with eyes that gleamed like starlight. Lucky flipped his coin before approaching the woman. It landed tails. He sauntered over, but before he could speak, she looked him over and said, I'm not interested. Lucky pocketed the coin, muttering, Guess my luck's run out. For the first time, the coin felt heavy, not charmed. He returned to his table, staring at his untouched drink. The medals on his chest felt heavy, the cheers outside muffled. "Not interested," he muttered. "Guess my luck's finally run out." The Fortuna's AI, patched into his comms, whispered in his ear, "Captain, probability alignment remains anomalous. Perhaps luck does not govern all things." Lucky chuckled bitterly. "Maybe. Or maybe the universe just wanted to remind me I'm human after all." The gala continued, music swelling, laughter echoing. Lucky Wilder sat alone, a planetary hero who had defeated an alien fleet, yet undone by 3 words from a woman who refused him. "I'm not interested." And in that moment he realized, luck could win battles, topple fleets, and save worlds. But it couldn't win every heart. Chapter 7. The Spy in Silk. The gala in New York glittered with chandeliers and laughter. Lucky Wilder, still wearing his medals, leaned against the balcony, staring at the city lights. The sting of rejection from the elegant woman lingered in his mind. For the first time, he wondered if his luck had limits. She appeared again, moving gracefully through the crowd. Her gown shimmered like liquid silver, her eyes sharp and calculating. Lucky raised his glass. "Changed your mind about that dance?" She smiled faintly. "On the contrary, Mr. Wilder, I've decided to give you my full attention." They slipped into a quieter corridor, away from the music. Lucky leaned casually against the wall, expecting flirtation. Instead, she drew a blade, sleek, alien, humming with energy. "Your luck ends tonight, human," she hissed. Lucky blinked, then laughed. "Darling, you should have seen the last fleet that tried." She lunged. The blade missed by inches, striking the wall. Sparks flew. Lucky stumbled back, not out of skill, but out of sheer fortune. His boot caught on a patch of loose carpet, pulling him just out of reach. Security rushed in, alerted by the commotion. Lucky grabbed her wrist, twisting the blade free. As guards restrained her, the truth spilled out. Hidden implants, encrypted comms, and an authority insignia etched into her weapon. "She's no socialite," Lucky said, tossing the blade to the guards. "She's an alien spy, advance scout for the invasion." The woman snarled, "You think you've won, human? You're just one man." Lucky grinned. "One man was enough last time." News spread like wildfire. The woman's arrest confirmed suspicions. The authority had infiltrated Earth, preparing for another strike. Lucky Wilder had not only defeated their fleet, he had exposed their spy. Crowds cheered his name again. Politicians hailed him as Earth's shield. The press dubbed him the man who outsmarted the stars. Lucky stood before the cameras, coins spinning on his palm, medals gleaming. "Guess my luck hasn't run out after all." That night, as the city celebrated, Lucky sat aboard the Fortuna, staring at the stars. His luck had saved him once more, but he knew the authority wouldn't stop. "Bring your fleets, bring your spies," he muttered. "Earth's got plenty more cards to play." The ship hummed in agreement, and Lucky Wilder smiled, a hero twice over, and a legend still growing. Chapter 8. Legend of Earth. The Authority fleet limped home, scarred and humiliated. Survivors whispered in hushed tones, their voices trembling as they reported to the High Council. "One man," they said. "One human in a rusted cruiser destroyed half our armada. His name is Lucky Wilder." The council chamber fell silent. For centuries, the Authority had conquered worlds without resistance. Now, fear spread like wildfire. If one Earthman could bend luck into victory, what could billions do? Across the galaxy, smugglers traded stories in shadowy cantinas. He dodged plasma fire like it was rain. His ship was a relic, yet it cut through battleships. They say he laughed while the fleet burned. Merchants raised prices on Terran goods, fearing retaliation. Pirate crews refused to raid Earthbound freighters. Even rival empires began to reconsider their stance. Perhaps humanity was not prey, but predator. On Earth, Lucky Wilder was celebrated again. Statues rose in city squares, songs echoed through the streets, and children played games pretending to be lucky, piloting imaginary cruisers against impossible odds. The president declared a new era. Earth is no longer a backwater world. We are a power to be respected. Lucky, however, remained restless. Honors and medals meant little. He sat aboard the Fortuna, staring at the stars. Funny thing about luck, he muttered. It's not about winning every hand, it's about playing the ones you're dealt. The AI core pulsed softly. Captain, probability alignment remains anomalous. Destiny awaits. Lucky smiled. Guess the galaxy's got more tables to sit at. Let's see who's dealing next. And so the legend spread. Earth was the world of Lucky Wilder, the man who bent fate itself. Alien fleets whispered his name, human children dreamed of his adventures, and the galaxy learned a new truth. If one man could do what Lucky did, an entire planet of humans could change the stars forever. Lucky Wilder flipped his coin, pushed the throttle, and vanished into the void, chasing the next impossible hand. The end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.